Check out the waves. You didn't get to Maui just to get to Maui. Ancestors of the spirit world, they got you here.
It talks about a culture that doesn't even exist nowadays.
Old sugar plantation buildings,
This is 1.3 mil.
at least.
The west side Maui and Lanai is Lele 4.
And Lele 4 is yours.
All of that.
Pretty much all of the harbors were owned by the king. These are all obsolete,
That's a postal office, still
Yep.
in business.
still going.
We got the tape holding up the electrical box.
The young surfers. There's too many people move here but don't live here. So, ayo, man. And so the question is, if there's no Hawaiians, how can this be Hawaii? My grandfather on my mom's side worked for the sugar plantation. You were put in a lottery to draw lots. So these were all kind of like connected with employee housing. It's an interesting experiment because this is what's like 63. Hawaii just recently became a state, acknowledged in 59.
Yep.
And so back before then, all of the different races were for the sugar plantation. You had little camps. You had a Filipino camp, a Hawaiian camp, a Japanese camp. But then post admission into statehood, the new subdivisions, they had to show mixing in of races. So then you had the homes here in the subdivision was one house, a Japanese family, the next house, a Portuguese family,
Okay.
next house, Filipino family. We were like the first 5 homes in this whole subdivision of 100 plus homes. So it was all sand. It was all sand around us.
What are the prices now compared to those
Oh
days?
God. Today?
Yeah.
Today is like what they say, a 3-bedroom house is 1.3 million,
So like this is 1.3 mil?
at least.
And you're what you consider native, right?
I guess local. I'm a melted pot.
So is that how it works here? Most people are a melting pot of some sort, right?
Yeah, everybody's kind of, there was a period where everybody's saying, oh, we're a melting pot of culture and race and ethnicity. But for me, I look back and I said, well, I would agree and I would disagree. We all live here in a bowl of salad. We're all tossed salad, all mixed in, but I wouldn't say we're melted because we still all hold our individual cultural identities.
Okay.
A tomato is still a tomato. A cucumber is still a cucumber, and so my grandparents were like designation of what they call a sakata. They were like the first generation of contract sugar workers, and they came from the Philippines, and then they married my grandmother, who was 100% Hawaiian. I look back at it, it was a kind of interesting social experiment. The quality of the people that were brought, for example, for digging tunnels,
Okay.
And so you found a lot of them being the small Asian folks, whether it be Chinese or what we call pake or Japanese. And then you had some that came with skills, plumbers and power people, so these are the buildings here, the sugar transport buildings.
Are they still in operation?
No, these are all obsolete, out of operation.
So no more sugar on the island?
No more sugar on the island. This is the sugar platform.
What's it now?
It's just right now, I guess, mats and containers are just being stored here.
How does it make you feel to see this?
For me,
Yeah.
I want to get it back
Yeah?
for the kingdom. This is kingdom land. This was, at one time, the kings, because they controlled the port.
Okay, so when the United States annexed Hawaii, did they pretty much take control over the islands then, or was it a power sharing sort of
it
thing?
was the military backed the economic business people, you know, they illegally overthrew the Kingdom of Hawaii. And this is 131 years ago. I think it was 1892, 93. But this is the harbor. This is the entrance of the harbor.
This is your lifeline these days.
Right.
Huh? Everything
right.
comes through
Everything
here.
comes through.
How
you know.
important is that? I mean, it's
Very important.
it's survival,
I would
right?
say well over 95% of everything that comes on this island comes through this port. And I say 95 because a small percentage is air freighted in, but the greater majority is brought in by ships.
How much of your food are you guys importing?
Well, there's evidence or rumor that people say between 90 to 92% of all the food that's consumed is being imported. For me, as a farmer, as a grower of food, I'd like to challenge us and to say, how do we zero net import? Why are we going to the store and buying a banana from Ecuador or Mexico when we can ask ourselves, can we grow bananas? We just need to start with what can we grow.
So you do have a lot of land here, I'm noticing, in Maui.
Yes. This is all sugar lands. This is all controlled, and then the sugar entity sold close to 45,000 acres over to a Canadian retirement investment fund, and they bought this land some little more than 6 years ago, and it's primarily lemons and limes. There's some coffee here. Today, a lot of politicians and decision makers, heads of businesses, they make their decisions based on the Benjamins, on the pluses and the minuses. If you are raised on the values of Kanaka, of the people of Hawaii,
Yeah.
then you are embedded with the ingrained motto, of state motto, of Ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. You know, the life of the land shall be remained in its existence as long as we continue to live in the right way,
Okay.
right? The right and just way. In that, you know, for me, I look at the decision making is any decision, any new decision, any critical decision. This decision that I'm about to make, does it harm the land? This decision, does it affect our air? What's its effect and affect onto the children? Effect and affect onto the elders? How does it affect the birds? How does it affect the nature? How does it affect the ocean and the fish? Everything like that. You must look at it and say, does anything or anyone suffer from this decision? And that's the difference of ua mau ke ea o ka aina I ka pono. Yeah? There's too many people move here but don't live here. They just sleep here. Because if you live here, you will then protect this place that you love. Many of them all have someplace else that they call home. If anything happens here, they have someplace else to go to. If something happens here, we have no place else to go.
Right.
This is our home. So our position always is aloha aina. Protect it with the love of the land. Malama aina. Care for it. And so then they come here and they get involved trying to change this place exactly like the place they ran away from. This is the way it is because this is the choice of the quality of lifestyle that we want it to be.
The lifestyle here is, you've seen a lot, you've traveled. It's
Yeah.
just slower in general, or what would you say the lifestyle is?
Yeah, I would say so, but it's getting faster day by day.
Okay.
technology has made us go faster.
Yeah.
You know, but where I live, my wife and my son, they'll go diving for food. I no longer do that, so I always tell them, you guys go and I'll man the hibachi. I'll run the grill. So they go out, they go diving, they go spear the fish and spear the octopus. For them, it's their therapy
Yeah.
and it's their lifestyle. Our backyard, we grow food. We harvest coconuts, and my son's side hustle is selling coconut candy. And so, we harvest the coconut, and now my job is to bake it and make it for them. And we have 100% organic coconut candy.
Oh, that's great.
You know.
So this is a friend of yours we're going to see.
Yeah, actually, she was a young student of mine that I coached. I was a canoe coach.
Smells so good up here.
Yeah. These are all eucalyptus and pine.
Oh, yeah.
You see me?
Yeah. She was just on the porch.
Okay.
Oh, what a place. Almost chilly out.
Yeah. Bro, we got a farm up here.
7 years old, Alika, huh?
Yeah?
Just island life keeps you in shape or what?
Yes.
How's this view?
What a view.
And then look, the 500 acres of solar that I shut down with Tetra Tech,
Yeah.
they put them in Waikapu instead. I shut her down.
You shut down the solar?
Yeah,
So they're going to put in solar panels down
they
there?
did already. You can see it. That's 250 acres right there. They're going to do an additional 250 acres.
Why'd you shut it down? You don't want to see the panels everywhere?
It so goes against green energy. It's like the amount of greenhouse gases and the amount of emissions it takes to make one panel goes against greenhouse gases. You never seen 1 acre that the battery's not leaching into the groundwater, and the fact that there's no disposal and they just bury it, it's like, what the hell? It kills all the microbes in the soil. It's like we're not gonna be able to farm for like 11 years. We're gonna have to replenish the soil.
Okay, let me ask you this. You can't see from here, but up the side of this mountain on the left side, there are windmills.
Windmills.
How do locals feel about the windmills? I guess it depends who you talk
The
to.
geomagnetic solar storm came and it was cranking at 200 miles an hour. So that means that the battery cells were full at least in an hour. So where does the excess energy go once the battery cells are full? It directs itself to the ground.
You are going contrary to what most people think about green energy. You think windmills, solar panels are good things. You're saying, no, it's not helping.
It's horrible. There's no place for it to be, disposed of. That's the one of the gnarliest things.
What, you like natural gas?
I think that nuclear is more clean energy than anything else. Let the water flow and get a water generator. Yeah, that can combust as well, but we would have all the water flowing to our seas, which would be replenishing our coral reefs.
Okay. So you're saying that almost all of the land in West Maui is on a leasehold and technically still owned by the crown that is your lineage. Is that correct?
The actual crown.
Yeah.
Not the
Pre-annexation.
reinstated Hawaiian government, not the Hawaiian nation, not the only and real crown. King Kamehameha the Great, Paea, he founded the entire Lele 4, which is the entire island of Lanai and the entire west side Maui in 1810 as his royal historical domain, meaning that all Lanai, all of west side Maui is under a Pioneer Mill contract of a lease that had started in 1914. Pioneer Mill merged a company with Harry Jeanette and Weinberg. Harry Jeanette and Weinberg's first thing was to strip over 500,000 Hawaiians for speaking Hawaiian or dancing hula, known as the Black Magic Devil language or Black Magic dancing. They stripped our language and our hula for 40 years. When my grandfather won in 1996, he won against Pioneer Mill, Maui Land and Pine.
Won what?
MFAC. 100% crown judgment. It's over 4.1 million acres.
Your grandfather.
228 islands of Hawaii, yeah.
So there were no deeds back then, or what's the story with that?
I have all the paperwork. I had 7 boxes, and this is all that we have left. Well, I have like a bunch of other stuff left, but this is, maybe not record this until I'm
Yep.
This is my family taking Harry, Jeanette, and Weinberg, Pioneer Mill, Amfact, Hiromi and Omura, aka the what are the guys that came and did a bunch of development back in the day? Yakuza.
Yakuza was here? Seriously?
Yakuza. Well,
the Yakuza
now,
parked their money here?
a lot of it industrialized in hotels, condos, and all of the big houses at freaking Sunset Beach. So what it's saying is, after 80 years of litigation based upon undisputed facts, that the Paki family owns an absolute 100% interest owned by the late Frank Clark of the Mo'omukuhui lands, plural. Mo'omukuhui lands is like the largest land commission award in the state of Hawaii. It goes to 228 islands. We only know about 8. I don't even know about the other 228 islands.
Nobody lives on those other islands, right?
A lot of them have like artifacts and headstones and a lot of our old culture that they made us forget about. Like in our culture, in my paperwork, we were, guardians of Heaven's Gate, which is Eke Crater. Eke Crater is the top of this mountain here.
In the clouds there.
Yeah, in our paperwork, it talks about a culture that doesn't even exist nowadays. These people have commercialized our culture, our language so much that
these people, who are they?
even just the Hawaiians that are down there, aloha wau ia oi, In our culture, like the kupunas that I remember, when you're speaking Hawaiian, you're like, you're like, whoa.
Kupunas, what are kupunas?
Kupunas are the elders.
The elders.
Okay.
The language
Talking
that
story.
you don't even speak or hear anymore.
So that says you guys have 100% of Lele,
Lele 4. 100%.
What's Lele for?
the land division.
Lanai and West Side Maui, where Murdoch, Bill Gates, and the richest person in the world nowadays running my leasehold, Larry Ellison.
Larry Ellison owns most of Lanai. Or I'm going to air quote
Lele
owns.
4.
He's the steward or caretaker.
Steward of a leasehold. Look. This is Lele 1, 2, and 3, and 4. This is Maui Nui. The West Side Maui and Lanai is Lele 4.
And Lele 4 is yours.
All of that. She had one piece.
What were you saying about your favorite celebrity? You were saying something?
Oprah Winfrey bought Thompson Ranch. Thompson Ranch was on a leasehold from Wahiniaea and Kaliloli Punika. That's my great-great-grandma. 2 of our big parcels of land were bought by Oprah Winfrey. And she was aware. She's aware of the not owning the land, that it's under a leasehold, under not a fee simple title, but a leasehold. But she conducted her own energy, and she has this yellow brick road from, all the way from Haleakala Ranch to Sumner, guys, who use it all the way to Wailea.
Okay, so how does that work? Someone, when they buy land like that, there's a title to it or no?
You can get land from a state or a realty place, but you don't own the land. You own the establishment that's on it.
You don't own the land?
No, the Crown owns the
call it a
land.
warranty
The Crown land can never be sold.
You're saying Oprah doesn't own that land?
No, neither does
Not if she
Zuckerberg,
eventually challenges it.
neither does Zuckerberg or Jeff Bezos.
But they think they do.
They bought the same parcel. They think they do, but
And
they
they have a title with their name on it. So in courts, it's
they're
their
not
land,
happy,
right?
but nobody's challenged them yet. I just found
She
out.
can challenge them.
I could challenge them and I could to end this lease, but this lease, I couldn't just end one section. I would have to end the whole thing. That's why I've been trying to gather allies like Haleakala Ranch Baldwins or Maui Land and Pine guys.
So if I bought a home in the neighborhood where you grew up,
Yeah.
would that be legit?
I think you would have to research the title of the actual land, because some of the lands, like we're finding, is that they were giving like 100-year leases, and her particular land, the lease was upped in 1988. The grandpa, who was still alive then, went to court, and he went through adjudication, and the adjudication was settled in 96.
And we only got a portion of what
Right.
our exhibit said we own.
Right. And so they said pretty much like gave them 300 acres and said, here, for now, just...
But now your title insurance is what you're going to be forced to buy.
Right.
So if
Title insurance is saying You're buying a leasehold property, and if the landowner was to ever come, you get 80% back of what infrastructure you put onto the land, but you have to leave when the landowner says you have to leave.
So you don't get a proper title, like free and clear, like it's good to go.
No.
You get basically just rights to the land.
The crown will always own the land, can never be sold, and only leased out.
People would disagree with what you're saying.
Well, people are just finding out. Unfortunately, and I just found out that every Hawaiian that's been losing their kuleana and kuonahiki lands has been losing it because the crown never stood up for them. And I didn't know. My family was kind of fighting over the land, who gets what, who's at the top, how much does it cost, how much can we get. They really messed it up. My dad, my uncles, nobody really did anything. They were all just dealing drugs and just robbing people. And then here I come along, I'm like in my baggy camouflage pants, hitchhiking on the side of the road. Mahi Pono, this Canadian company, they're taking 70% of the water that's supposed to be growing food for the people, and they're growing lemons, potatoes.
What about the sugar mill?
The sugar mill, with the Chinaman that just bought it, the sugar mill is still considered as a Hawaiian commercial sugar company. Right. They sold that, that's still in a leasehold.
Right. I want that sugar mill back.
The China guys.
I don't want the sugar mill. I want the water that's under the sugar mill.
Right.
There's three
wells. There's like a well there. I didn't know.
Three wells there.
Guess where one of the wells is? Under the church.
Yeah.
Under the church right there.
Yeah.
So why do you want the water?
To grow food. We have none.
Food and show housing for the people. If that property has 7 million or 10 million gallons a day, and if I want to put 100 Hawaiian families into affordable homes,
actual affordable homes,
yes, we need to show that we have water. And then on top of that, my interest with the mill was we want to grow our own homes. We want to be able to grow our own hemp, process our own hemp, build our own building materials so we can stand up our own homes without shipping in materials from elsewhere. So these are real problems that our people are being a choice. Oh, we got to choose to live here or leave. And many of them are choosing to leave.
More are outside of the islands these days than on the islands, I read.
Yeah.
That's true.
More,
right?
There's more Hawaiians living away from the islands than there is within the state. And so the question is, if there's no Hawaiians, how can this be Hawaii? You know? There's a federal act of the Hawaiian Homestead Act, and that was created in 1920. And it was primarily just to get the native Hawaiians onto their lands. On this island, we have around 20 to 21,000 acres of that kind of land. But they gave the Hawaiians the most unlivable, unbuildable lands. You know, it was all lava rock, forest, just barren.
Are we on this land right now?
This is it.
This is it.
This is one of the subdivisions. It's called Waiahuli, Hawaiian Homelands.
It's nice land, though.
Yeah. Took many, many years for them to do the land prep, land clearing, getting the people on the land.
Okay, so native Hawaiians would get their homesteads, and it's just passed down through the generations?
Yes, so it's a 99-year lease. To first qualify, you need to have a minimum of 50% blood quantum of Hawaiian blood. And then now you can pass it down to a successor of 25% or more. As we go forward, there's going to be less and less blood quantum and more intermarrying. The current legislation is trying to ask for a change down to a 3% blood quantum so that 5 generations from now can still live on their land.
Right, because how many native 100% Hawaiians are there left?
I really don't know,
It's
but
like 1,000 or something,
yeah,
right?
not that much.
And so when it gets that low, you can't start marrying your cousins and whatnot, right?
Yeah. And it's been years, you know, from 1920 to now. I mean, only now. There's like a wait list of 50% or more Hawaiians on the wait list.
Okay.
And the wait list today is now 29,000.
But there are a lot of newer homes, nicer newer homes. Are the Hawaiians funding those, or is that coming? Where's that money coming from?
It's coming, they're forced mortgages onto the Hawaiians.
Okay, so the land is free for them, but they're building the homes.
The land is $1 a year for 99 years.
Okay.
And they were to build their homes. The act did not say put Hawaiians into $600,000 mortgages. The act said just to put the Hawaiians on land, and so that they could have their own homestead and practice their own self-determination.
So when you live on Maui or any one of the islands, correct me where I'm wrong here, it's like Hawaii is almost like the United States and every island is its own state? Would that be a good way of saying it?
Yeah, yeah.
Like here is totally different than Big Island,
Right.
Molokai,
Right.
Oahu.
Right.
And you
Every
guys are very
island-
proud, right? You're very proud of the
Every
island.
island, you know, every island has its own beauty. Every island has its own quirks. 50s and early 60s, we were still very rural. We only had like a police force of 2, maybe 4, because no military base, no 4-year university, no high security prison kind of controlled the growth of Maui for a while.
Okay.
And then in the 70s, when tourism came and then the economic income increased and the taxation increased, we were then able to have a somewhat larger police force. But in the early stages, we were able to slow the growth down.
Oh, interesting. So surfing is huge in the culture, right?
Yeah, and this one here is the Keiki surf meet.
Oh, this is great.
The young surfers. Oh, ayo. Okay. Yeah. So, bro. Ayo, man. All right, ayo. Check out the waves. My grandmother, she was known as the Opihi lady. And Opihi is a limpet that you'll find on the rocks, and seaweed, limu, we call it limu. All of that was all edible. But she would walk through here all the way down the coast, gathering food and bring back food to the village.
To the village.
Yeah, this is my grandmother's stomping grounds. But she was very spiritual in the sense of her practice. A lot of it was, she was always in tune with nature and always very, very communicative with gods, you know. I call it the Kanaka lens. Kanaka is from a perspective of a Hawaiian person, a Hawaiian eye. You incorporate not what is just going on around you physically, but you also incorporate understanding of spirituality. It's a wholesome approach and not just strictly a physical relationship. You also must react through your na'au. Na'au is your gut.
Okay.
Or your gut instinct.
Yeah.
And we look at that as your ancestors coming to you through a manifestation of nature. And they try to find ways to communicate to you. And so many a times you have a feeling inside. It's kind of like a butterfly that's just fluttering in you.
Okay.
that is your ancestors communicating to you, of giving you this gift of guidance. Some people would call it gut instinct.
Right.
The failure of man, or the failure of us, is we only listen to it 20% of the time. We'll only follow our gut 20% of the time. And I've always shared with the kids, I say, that's your kupuna, that's your elders, that's your tutu communicating to you, to guide you, to steer you to make the right decision. And if you ever have a doubt, try to flip it. Make the decision 80% of the time. Yeah? And you will be right.
But to listen to your gut, you have to be still
In tune.
in tune.
Yeah. So how to reset yourself?
That's interesting. I never thought of it that way. So that's the ancestors coming in through you,
Yeah.
giving you the guidance.
Yeah.
And so always follow your gut.
Yeah,
feeling?
and so another thing would be ho'ailona. Your ancestors come to you, communicate to you through manifestations of nature, that they give you signs that is out of the ordinary. Sometimes it comes to you in the sun. It'll shine bright, you'll see the change in light. Sometimes it'll come to you in the form of wind, because that's nature. Sometimes it'll come to you with a light, gentle breeze in the back of your ear that tickles the back of your ear. You have to recognize it, goes, that's you, Grandma. That's you, Tutu. And you're listening and feeling and saying, she's guiding you. Yeah? They come to you in rain, light, gentle drizzle, or heavy rain. They can come to you in a rainbow. Out of the blue, you'll see a rainbow. They come to you in animals. In the ocean, they could come to you as a shark. Out of the blue, a whale jumps in front of you. What does that mean? So it's one thing to see and recognize what is a ho'ailona. The second thing, or the challenge, what does that mean? What does that mean, grasshopper? Yeah? Say I see an owl, and it's flying with me right here. It's telling me whatever I'm thinking or deciding upon, it's going with me. So I would interpret that as an affirmative. If that owl flew in front of me, across, that is telling me exercise with caution. I've seen a couple of times the bird would fly straight at me and pass me going backwards. And I was headed into a meeting. I quickly interpreted that as a flat out no ways. Don't even go. Yeah? And I was with a group of guys, and they all told me, Uncle, you saw that bird? I said, yeah. What direction was it flying? He goes, it went backwards. I goes, yeah. And how do you interpret that? He goes, I think they're telling us no. And I said, yeah. So let's not even take this meeting. And we turned around and walked out. Yeah. And so these are things, real things, that we have to be in tune with nature, because we are not here by ourselves. We are constantly being sheep herded and supported by those who came before us. They all stand behind us and they guide us. You didn't get to Maui just to get to Maui. There's a purpose of why they got you here. Yeah? And so those ancestors of the spirit world work in tune together, and they communicate. And their realm of communicating to us is through various forms and manifestations of nature. I wanted you to see the sugar mill.
Okay. That's a solid change of topics. I like it. U.S. Postal Office.
Yep.
That's a postal office, still
Yep.
in business.
Still going.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the last sugar mill.
So it was the big five, right, on all of the islands?
Yeah.
No sugar here.
Yeah, this is the last operating sugar mill in the entire state of Hawaii. They shut it down some six years ago.
6, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
There's not one in Kauai right now?
No. I think the entity was a corporation out of Taiwan. Got it. Rumor has it that they have no interest in the mill. They just want the land.
And the water.
Yeah. So they just want to develop. They want to tear everything down and develop. It's an
Okay,
active
we got the
post-
tape. We got the tape holding up the electrical box. Here we go. This might be the most beat up USPS I've seen, I gotta say.
Oh, but
it's got the
very,
old boxes.
It's very active.
It's got the old boxes. Well, this is it, huh?
Yeah, it pushes out a lot of mail.
It's active, as in big line here during the day?
Yeah,
It's great.
still active.
You know what? A lot of these post offices haven't been updated since the 50s.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, I've never had a problem with them.
Yeah.
I always ship things overnight with them. They always work. Here we go. Here's the box. Feels like something might come out and bite
Yeah.
you. No, we're good. So the tracks you can see right here just went right out to the
Yeah.
port, huh?
Right. On the left side, coming here, you'll see a couple of buildings there, old plantation buildings. That was the manager's building. Today, it's a sugar museum. So this is like a former manager's house. So they kept it refurbished, operating. These two buildings are all part of the sugar museum,
Yeah.
along with all the equipment.
So sugar really is one of the big stories of Hawaii.
Yeah.
What's up here?
The land that she was telling me about, that's hers. This golf course is part of the land that she can take back.
Kai, the woman we met earlier.
Yeah. And so I said, take it back. Because I've always kept an eye on this. I'm going, this golf course can be a farm. It already has irrigation water lines already in it. We can easily transform it into a food forest. Every golf course, instant, we can grow.
You don't have a lot of golfer friends, do you?
No.
Fair to say.
Yeah.
You're definitely not making them now.
No.
It's beautiful up here.
Yeah. So this whole section is shut down.
Why?
They don't own it. She owns it.
Yeah, but shut down. It's not
Yeah,
operating.
not operating.
They're mowing the grass.
Yeah, that's it. Technically, she can claim it because it's on a leasehold, and the Japanese honored the standing to the Hawaiians that they just left it like that. This side
So
is
it's Japanese ownership.
yeah, and the Japanese recognize that.
And so
This side is an operating golf course.
Okay.
Yeah. On every island, there's struggling golf courses that are struggling to turn a profit. So why not just take it back and grow food?
Where are all the golfers right now? I don't see anyone out here.
Yeah, this is a private club.
Okay.
These guys pay 15 grand a month to be able to golf anytime.
Right.
Yeah. This is called the Marilyn Monroe House.
Oh, that's cool.
I forget the guy's name
Wow.
that designed it. But this is what similar design.
That is cool.
Oh, King Kamehameha Golf Club.
What a beautiful building. Wow.
Last week I went to a high school. I spoke to two classes, about 30 in each, so about 60 students. Of the 60 students, I asked, who's going to work for the tourism and hotels? Not one raised their hands.
Really?
They don't want to work for tourism. Of the 60 students, I said, well, you guys all eat? They said, yeah. I said, how many meals a day? 1 meal, 2 meals, 3 meals? Every one of them 3 meals. I said, so you guys eat 21 meals a week. Who's going to grow the food? Only 3 hands went up wanting to be farmers.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to do the hard work that it takes to do something like that.
So then I said, okay, not going to do tourism, you're not going to do food, then what's your plan? What you 57 others? They all shrugged their shoulders.
Really?
They have no plan.
Wow. Is there a lack of motivation in them? Did you see?
Lack of vision.
Okay.
Lack of vision and lack of reality. And I said, good luck. You guys are juniors, and in 1 year, you're going to be kicked out to society, and you have no plan, you know? But what we're looking at is a view of the 45,000 acres that once was all sugar production.
This whole valley?
Yeah, the whole valley. My thinking is this: 45,000 acres that was bought up from the former sugar company, sold it to a Canadian retiree investment fund. An investment fund is to invest and make money. This enterprise is losing money every year by the millions. The parent company is located in Northern California. The company up there is called Trinitas. Yeah, they bought up some almond farms and water, and just recently filed bankruptcy. So I'm hoping for a domino effect to take place, and that the investors of this retirement fund are going to say, we don't want to be losing more money. Yeah, but I need us to be ready financially to get supporters so that we can buy the land back for the people.
Do you have an email, contact, website, anything like that? How do people find you?
My full name, ALIKAATAY @gmail. And
you ready for your email to blow up?
I'm open. You know, if it's too, like I told you, I told you, I'm not limping in. You know, we got to make the change for our future.
Okay.
You know.
Well, I'm sure you're going to get a flood of emails, and like when I'm finding stories like how I found you.
Yeah.
Was putting a lot of feelers out, needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
You are showing us a perspective and a look of Maui that very few of us have. So really appreciate you bringing us in for that today, showing us your friend, her story. That was very interesting.
Yeah.
And respect to what you're doing, what you're all about. So,
it's the journey. It's the journey, and you never give up, you know, and it's also to dream. You know, we gotta dream. You know, we can't have reality without dreams.
Well, your passion for your homeland, your island is palpable. It's very obvious. So.
No, thank you for your time.
All right, guys, thanks for coming along on that journey. It's the start of a multi-part Hawaii series, starting with Maui, Molokai, Oahu, Kauai. This is just the beginning.
Oh.
And that was a good entry.
We have a whole lot more.
More coming.
An eclectic collection of experiences.
Yes. All right, thanks for coming along.
Aloha.
Until the next one. Aloha.
Aloha.